Hi friends! I just woke up and word on the street is there are plants to be saved in the alley. So let's go check them out.
Welcome to the scene of the crime. There appears to be 2 plants abandoned in the alleyway. Initial assessments, dehydration. Second crime, they've completely removed the pots and have left these poor plants here to die in the heat. This is a peperomia. This is some kind of Dracaena. This plant in particular is pretty tough, but this is looking very, very dry, so we will bring it home and see what we can do about that. These roots on the outside look very dead. This is similar to the other plant rescue that I did with the money tree. These roots are very fragile. Let's look at this peperomia. This plant is also very dry. I've mentioned this in my other videos before. When peat gets very, very dry, it just starts to unable to hold moisture, and I'm going to assume that this is what's happening to this plant. We'll soak it and you'll see whether or not this soil is absorbing any water. All right, let's bring them in. This soil that this person put it in, it's just a bunch of rocks, and these roots are all dead. These plants do root pretty easily. I've rooted it in water before, so we might have to do that. I don't know. Let me just get to the bottom or get into the middle of this and see what happens. I'm sure the drainage is fine because it does seem very light. Yeah, these roots, they're gone. So this plant needs to be rerooted. I've never ever bought a plant that had rocks in it like this as a drainage amendment. I'm going to try to separate them just to get all the dead roots off. I really don't think any of this is salvageable, the roots. And if we look at the stem more closely, it's already very wrinkled, but that could bounce back. That's not to say that it can't. It's like dry twigs. There's like nothing on it. So we're just gonna try to clean off as much of the dead roots as possible. And you know they're dead because you pull on them. You don't really even have to pull. It's like a light touch and it's already falling apart. I was not prepared for this morning. The last time we saved those plants, they sat around for like a week before I tended to them. I was not expecting to make a hot mess. I mean, I make a hot mess every day. It's just not for this purpose. All right, so for the top, I'm going to remove a lot of the leaves. Do not be alarmed because it cannot support this life right now. Moving on to the next branch. These trees actually go for a lot of money. I've seen them. If you buy one that's like in a gallon or a 2-gallon size, they go for like $50, $40 depending on the size. And they're pretty easy to take care of. They do like a lot of light. I've seen one at my neighbor's house, and she has it in a pretty sunny spot and it loves it there. So make sure to turn it if you have one of these guys, because they do obviously grow towards the light. And if you want it nice and straight, you gotta rotate. And they don't really need a lot of water. Dracaenas have been recently reclassified to Sansevieras, and they're very drought tolerant plants in general. Oh my God, this one is really gone. I mean, look at it. Like, all right, I'm gonna do something to see if it's even worth what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna cut this top to see if there's anything going on. Yep, it's dead. So there's no point in trying to save this, so we're just gonna leave that one. And you can feel by the weight too, it's very, very light. There's like no moisture in it, so goodbye to that. If you wanted to leave these on, I think they would just fall off anyway, so, you know, your choice. Wait for them to naturally fall off, or you just pull them off now. Because either way, the plant's looking sad. 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 To propagate a Dracaena, usually what you would do is, you would just cut this head off, stick this in water, and then I would not leave this giant branch here. I would cut this way down and just have it maybe there or even lower so that it starts shooting out little babies on the side, which is what this dude's doing. In the middle, pretty sure it's gonna die, but if you wanted to, as an experiment, lay it down on some dirt and see if it will root that way. Dracaenas are very hardy and can do that. Before repotting it, I'm going to do some more root work because it just doesn't look promising to me. And if you leave these guys in, it's just gonna, some of it will just rot. So just better take care of it now and just let it regrow later on its own. You want fresh roots. These roots are not great. I almost wonder if I should just put it in some water first rather than sticking it in soil. Like once you see some root development, then you could transfer it over. I might do that. Let me finish doing this and decide. All right, this is the one that I said I would cut, but I think I'm gonna leave this. Look at this. I don't know if this is, I'm gonna be honest and I'm gonna say that these tips are gonna die back and new growth is just really gonna come from a different point on the branch. So I guess now really the question is, do you want a giant, do you want dead heads and then just have it grow in random places? I don't know. I feel like they've been through so much trauma already. I want to just leave it. Sorry, I need to find myself a vase or something. We'll use this one. So yeah, I just want to rehydrate them. I'm gonna cut the super long one down. There we go. So with these open cuts, it's very easy for them to get bacterial or fungus infections, so keep an eye out. What do you do when you get it? I just clean it off with some alcohol. And then this, I'm gonna cut the top. I don't think this is gonna make it. That's just the truth. That is just the truth. And these sticks, I have actually been able to propagate them historically, so let's just try it and see what happens. There's one. There's two. That's it. So water, that's all they need. And then I'll leave those like that. I'll just go put some water in it. So it's the next day, and this is what I discovered. Remember how I was telling you they were a little bit floppy? Well, they look like they need to be beheaded. So here we go. What I'm actually going to do is cut this into two and try to propagate the other part. So that's one, and the same thing happened with this long one. So this is gone. So I'm gonna cut that off and propagate the rest of these. And now that it's shorter, I can put these in the propagation box. So that will do that after this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and for the peperomia, we will release that video next week, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, as always, let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. Until next time, happy growing.